In education news this morning, education was a top priority in the 2022 legislative session. KPVI News that works for you journalist Heather Ann Wagner spoke to Idaho Superintendent of Public Instruction Sherri Ybarra to learn more about where state education stands right now.
Education has a wide range, going from kindergarten to higher learning. It was a top focus this legislative session and had a record amount of funding. But that process isn't easy and it doesn't happen quickly.
It is a very difficult process. It is not, you just get up in the morning and I think this shall be a legislative priority. It has to be something that you can get buy-in for, and it has to be something that you can get support for. And I always say, if it doesn't help kids, I'm not even going to consider it.
The State Department of Education handles legislation and funding distribution to local districts. Idaho is a state of local control.
Our job is to support schools and districts to achieve and be the conduit for training for teachers and questions that might come from school districts. But all of the local control lies at the local level.
Another thing the department is in charge of is public instruction and focusing on that.
Vouchers in the state of Idaho will destroy rural schools. Idaho is over 70% rural, and there is no way to do that without absolute destruction.
They do listen to critique and concerns about education in the state and encourage involvement.
I do realize that there are some criticisms of education right now, that especially during the pandemic, there were folks that weren't happy, but I think moving forward, that's important. There's nothing wrong with parents sharing their opinion, and we've taken all of those suggestions to heart.
Right now, people want to know what children are being taught in classes. Much of that came from the pandemic and concern about critical race theory.
My department is going to perform a review of any curriculum materials that were recommended to school districts on parents' behalf across the state, and I will be happy to share the results of that as soon as that's completed.
One thing that can be shared is that Idaho students have come back from the pandemic and excelled.
Congratulations for all of your accolades. You deserve it.
Reporting in Boise, Heather Ann Wagner, KPVI News that works for you.
Another change, the State Department of Education will release a parental involvement toolkit the first week of May.